Here we go, gentlemen. Greetings. How are you? It's Todd Pitner, co-host, Decentralized.tv, founder. Let me make sure that's not going to blow me out. Nope. Founder of DecentralizedDirectory.com. And if you haven't noticed, I've rebranded a little bit here to where, let me show you. Thank you. Shout out goes to Spencer, who has developed my decentralized directory logo, and it is on fire, everybody. Thank you, Spencer. You are awesome. You've also helped me tremendously with decentralizeddirectory.com. It's really coming together, and I would say we started ugly, but anything you do, Spencer, is the furthest thing from ugly. So thank you. Thank you to joshuahale.io as well. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a blast. I am pivoting my channel less about crypto and more about battling inflation, food inflation, energy inflation, how to be able to become more decentralized, how to, not just aspire for decentralized living, but actually incorporate that two-letter word, do. You just have to do it. You have to step out there and be your own point of the spear, and you have to be a prepper of sorts, somebody who thinks a few chess moves ahead so that you're not stuck when the food shortages, the ones that are orchestrated, that are coming, that you're not going to be stuck buying $10 avocados or, $12 oranges. No, you're going to go out in your backyard and you're going to pick your own. So today I'm excited. I have the most amazing group of awesome people. Jim Gale, let me just go around real quick. We have Jim. Jim is CEO, founder of FoodForestAbundance.com, and he is a man on a mission. We love Jim so much. If you aren't in Telegram and you're not following Jim, then you are just not up to date. And then you have Graham. Graham in the upper left, or at least it is for me, upper left. Graham is the lead designer for FoodForestAbundance.com. You have Cam James, lower right, badass. He this guy, he installs the food forest. This is part of my team, everyone, because guess what? I just got approval from my HOA, and we did that together because we had a little battle on our hands because they wanted to limit us to 2 fruit trees. And we're going to talk about how we were able to, with some friendly persuasion, facts, and the law on our side, how we were able to go about getting them to arrive at the right conclusion and do the right thing. And for the Homeowners Association Board of Directors, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for making the right decision. I really appreciate it because I am documenting the entire installation all the way through. I'm still going to be documenting 2 years from now when the produce starts coming in, when it's abundant. I mean, Jim, we'll talk about Galt's Landing and what wasn't there 18 months ago and how it has just prospered since. So it doesn't take long. But okay, first of all, thank you everybody who's watching. And if you followed me along, I cannot see your comments. All I see, I'll show you so that I have credibility when I say this. All I see is that video is unavailable. And so it's a shame. Comments are turned off. No, they aren't. People are commenting right now. I just can't see them. So I'm flying in the blind, but you know what? It's not the first time in my life. So let's go here. I want to be able to take you to Jim's world, Jim's business right here. And this is FoodForestAbundance.com. Transform your lawn into a food forest. Learn how to grow your own food supply during free strategy session with certified permaculture designer. And I'm just going to quickly show people the site. There's Jim. We have him on the line right now. I mean, I'm telling you guys, go to foodforestabundance.com and please watch this video and please see this amazing food forest that Jim and team has planted. And Jim, well, let me sneak down here and look. There's just more and more. Man, I cannot wait. We're going to be installing my food forest really soon, and I'm going to show you guys how it's going to look. Let me stop sharing. And Jim, first of all, I want to ask you, welcome to the show. I want to ask you, what is permaculture?
All right, buddy. Well, thank you, Todd, for everything you're doing. I love your approach with the HOA because HOAs can be very tyrannical. And It sounds like you've got some common sense people on your HOA that are not stopping you from using your land to be productive and habitat for life. And of course, provide you an infinite amount of food. And most people, when I say that, they think that's salesy. It's not salesy, right? You can count the seeds in an apple or a papaya, but you cannot count the papayas in a single seed. A single little tiny seed can produce an infinite number of papaya over time, right?
That's amazing. You know, that is a fantastic way to look at it. And I want to use this channel and this show to be able to demonstrate how we went about approaching the HOA. And I'm actually going to read the letter that I wrote, actually co-wrote. Graham, you were amazing with all of your, well, your whole team, Jim. I mean, my goodness, it's just been such a pleasure. And what I can say, I have one word to describe you, FoodForestAbundance.com, your team, one word: passionate. You all are the most passionate people I've ever met, and dedicated, and you think in cans, not can'ts. Yeah, I just love it. But share with us a little bit about Food Forest Abundance, Jim, and your vision with it, and educate us on permaculture and why all of us should be engaging in it.
Yes. So the passion comes from my knowing that permaculture, which means permanent culture, is the solution to all of the world's biggest problems. When we take the poisons out and we transform 50% of our lawns, which, by the way, take more poisons, more chemicals, more human resources. It's $100 billion a year industry. When we transform 50% of our lawns into life instead of death, we solve mass extinction and deforestation, cancer, diabetes, heart disease. We end world hunger and we end tyranny. And I've got 4 daughters, and they are my primary spark. They're the ones who, when I ask the question, what's the world going to be like in 10, 20, 30 years? What's the world of my grandkids going to be like? Well, that's why we're so passionate, buddy.
Well, you know what? I think right now is a good time to just share with people what we're talking about here. Everybody take a look at this. This is an aerial view of my property. I live here in Tampa, Florida. This is the before picture. Those of you who followed me know that I carved out a little area when I first moved in back there and put a fence there to create a dog run. But now I have so many living animals that go in and out of the forest. My deer, my raccoons, I just love them all. I have a fire pit there in the middle, and under there, back there, there's a picnic table. I go out there every morning and I spread deer corn and I feed the raccoons. They come right up. One of them even just sits in my lap. I love them, love them, love them. And these guys on the line right now know how much I love them, because I'm designing a special food forest area that's not going to be food producing for me and us and my family, but for them. But it is going to be a visual Garden of Eden, and I'm going to share that with you. But back here is my land, my lawn proper. If you take a look at this, from this oak tree to that oak tree, we're going to be pushing this fence here out, so it comes out there. So I'm going to have this whole area to be able to dedicate to a food forest. So I'd like to talk about the process a little bit, gentlemen. Let me if I could find my mouse, I'll stop sharing. I'd like to start the process. What you all are going to do first is, so that I'm not going to be battling my own grass, we're taking that out first, aren't we? Anyone?
Graham, yes, this is where Graham, the master designer, should jump in. Graham, what do you think?
I was going to ask Cam, but Cam's not on anymore. But yeah, you're right, Todd. The very first part of this is to take out the sod, the lawn, to clear out the space for everything that's going to be planted. And that's most important, because we really don't want the lawn to just grow up back through everything that we're planting and suppress the growth of all the things that we put in the ground. So we've got, fruit trees first, then all the support plants that go around it. All of those depend on having their own space, and taking that sod, the grass, the weeds out of the way first is most important. And then replacing that with a whole heap of compost and mulch and all of the things that are going to support the growth and fertility of the soil.
Check that out. Check that out. That's the after. That is my design food forest, everyone.
Wow.
Graham, can you take us through what all of this is? The plants, so we have bananas. What is LG? Oh no, I'm not planting LGBTQ. No way. This is going to be a straight forest. Oh, I had to. Let's talk about this and strategically why you plant what where, and the supporting infrastructure around it, and how it becomes a system, not a garden. Can you educate us on that, Graham?
You betcha. Yeah. So let me talk about what you've got in your design, but then also I'm walking around in an installation right now, Todd, where I can show you this for real, what it looks like as well. But first,
Great.
With your design, I'm just looking at the part where it's got the mulberries, the ice cream bean, and then you can see that we've got some other plants, all around those main canopy trees. So we always start with the main canopy trees. Those are your fruit trees, your nut trees, so your avocado, your mango, your mulberries, moringa, all of those are your canopy trees. The ones that are going to grow largest, the ones that are going to provide the shade, and the ones which are going to provide the space for the support plants to go underneath. And so then, with support plants, we're putting those in place for a number of different purposes. So one of them, like a moringa, while it's a canopy tree, it's also a support plant in that it fixes nitrogen in the soil. It's got a whole heap of nutritional benefits that people can gain. But if you chop and drop that, it's also a great mulch that puts a lot of nutrient back into the soil. If you use
back the bus up. Tell me what chop and drop means.
Yeah, chop and drop is basically taking a plant, cutting it, and then dropping it as a living mulch around another plant. So
I'm going to be going through my garden periodically. You'll teach me when, and I'll know what to chop and where to drop, and then I let nature take over from there.
That's correct.
Beautiful.
I got a great example is comfrey. So comfrey is a herbaceous plant. It's a broadleaf plant, almost indestructible, but it has a really, really deep taproot, and it goes down deep in the soil, extracts mineral nutrients from the clay, from the sand, etc., and brings that up into its leaf structure. That leaf is then very rich in silica, in calcium, in magnesium, all the minerals that plants need. And so then when you chop that, you then take those leaves and throw them as, again, a living mulch around the support, around the main canopy trees, your fruit trees, your berry bushes, etc. And when that decomposes, comfrey does two things. First, it's going to release all of the minerals into the soil and make those available for the plant that you've dropped it at. But it's also going to be stimulating the natural composting and microbial processes in the soil, which then help to enhance all of the different nutritional functions that are necessary at the roots of the plants.
Wow. Is there comfrey in my design? Is GC or SC?
I sure hope so, but it's usually not shown on the design because it's such a small plant. It's
Okay.
usually very difficult to stick on the design as one of the key support plants. But
Okay.
you know,
And I see it.
Comfrey's
It's listed right at the bottom there.
excellent. So yeah, Comfrey's almost a standard for us.
Yep.
And I've got some here in Michigan. If I can get myself back to here we go. I'll show you right here.
There's Cam, my main man, Cam.
This is
Okay.
Comfrey.
Okay.
Okay. And then, you know, if we go back then and take a look at the other reasons for support plants, Todd,
Yep.
here's another example. Okay, so this one is goldenrod.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, this one here, this is why we plant this. You can see this big bumblebee.
Ah, yeah.
So this is a pollinator attractor, along with other plants here like echinacea.
Mm-hmm.
Here's some more echinacea, okay, otherwise known as coneflower. We have yarrow right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this one here is bee balm that's just growing back, but this one here has got its flowers on it. And I didn't have these in the ground, but 15 minutes at this location, and then all of the different pollinators, like your butterflies, your bees,
Wow.
predatory wasp, all of those started to come in here. And then that gives me the confidence that we're going to get great yields on the
Wow.
fruit trees.
Wow.
Because we've got all those pollinators coming in.
Okay, tell me something. You said attack wasps.
Yeah, predatory wasp.
Predatory wasps.
Okay,
Should that
so-
scare the crap out of me?
No, it shouldn't. Okay, you want the beneficial insects to come in.
Okay.
And the reason, well, okay, so obviously the bees, you know, self-explanatory.
Yep.
Bees are going to pollinate plants.
Yes.
They're also going to capture nectar, make honey, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
But you have a number of pest insects that will come in. And let me give an example. I don't think there's any left here, but I'll show here on this cherry tree what can happen. Okay, see these leaves here? They've all been chewed up
Oh yeah.
and chewed up by Japanese beetles. And here you can see one of them right here.
The bastard.
Yeah, I hate these things.
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
where your predatory wasps come in.
So again, a principle in permaculture, you know, we don't use sprays for chemicals, you know, even organic sprays. We try to avoid the use of
Yeah.
those,
Mhm.
and we try to use complementary methods to control the pests. So
You know-
while we
you
have
know-
pest insects coming in, we can have beneficial insects, like I said, the predatory wasps, which will kill the pest insects and control the population.
You know, the only time I saw Jim Gale, you know, get red in the face and looking like he might turn into Hulk is when I told Jim, I said, I hate ants. I Amdro the shit out of those ants. And he's like, no, why can't I get rid of the ants that way, guys? I hate them. They bite me. They love me. What the hell did God put an ant on this earth for?
Yeah, that's a question
Food
I'm
for
going to have.
lizards. We got to feed the lizards.
Feed the lizards, but hey,
Okay.
you know, one of the great ways to control ants or stop them from being in places you don't want them is to plant lots of mint. You know, so that's an example of a plant that will suppress ants moving, but a very, very natural method. And since you're in Florida, I know this to be the case, that you've got sandy soil.
Yes.
And the soil in Florida, especially southeast Georgia, all those sandy coastline areas of the eastern seaboard, those soils are perfect for ants to build their colonies and their tunnels in the ground.
Okay. So what do those tunnels do? What's the benefit? We have TJ coming in the house, so that's good. Welcome
I mean,
aboard.
So ants, you know, do have some benefits. You know, one of which is building all those tunnels in the soil aerates the soil. You know, they're actually taking stuff down into those tunnels. They're
Yeah.
putting organic material into the soil. But yes, they're a pest, you know, especially fire ants. I mean,
Yes.
I've lived in Texas and I hate those things passionately.
Okay.
You know, I've been bitten by them enough times to know that I don't like those in my garden.
Okay. Let me ask you a quick question. I'm going to show you my food forest again. As you guys know, I love my deer. What is the strategy now? We're gonna put a barrier, you know, to keep them out of here. but isn't there something that you guys plant as well that that they don't like because it makes them smell? I can't remember what it was. Do you remember?
Yeah, quite possibly lavender.
Yes, lavender.
As one example. You know, I walked around here, Todd, and showed you, you know, some of the other plants. And I think you can see this one. This is yarrow again. This one here is catmint. Okay. And all of these plants have an odor to them.
Okay.
And so most of the animals, whether it be deer, whether it be, you know, woodchucks or groundhogs, as we call them up here, whether it's squirrels, they all depend on their sense of smell to identify predators like dogs, cats, humans, etc.
Yeah.
And when that sense of smell gets interrupted by the smell of oregano or rosemary or lavender or any of those really fragrant plants, it confuses their sense of smell. And so they try to avoid having those things on their fur.
Okay.
Especially at the parts of their body where they're usually eating, which is their mouth, their nose, you know, their snout, etc.
Right.
So that's part of the strategy of how we deal with animals. And you can see here's another strategy. In this part of the world here in Michigan, you know, we have deer like ticks. And so this is an 8-foot tall fence, okay, with hog panels. Okay, and people might think, okay, this is an expensive option. And it is somewhat, but here's what we do with the fence. Now that we've built it.
Hold on. Before you ask it, TJ, are you watching this? Is this the kind of fence we're going to build for me?
What's that? Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's what I was visualizing. So cool. All right, go ahead.
I've shared this with TJ and with Cam, and, you know, this is almost a standard now that we stick in our designs for people to look at.
Okay.
You know, and this is probably the simplest way and cost to build a fence, you know, this big. You know,
and I don't think it's going to be an issue with the HOA. I think I'll just put it up because it's not permanent, right?
Well, it's not a fence; it's a trellis.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Rename
we
it.
don't use the F word. We don't use the F word in permaculture. So what we also put down here, I do at least down here, I've got this mesh, which is rabbit mesh, and that keeps the small critters from going through the bottom of the fence.
All right, TJ, so you got it, right? You know, that's what we want to do. And then I got to have just a big fence for my guys to get there. I mean, a big gate to be that they can ride their whatever through, you know.
I got the answer for that while we're here too, Todd. But,
you
know,
great.
Like I said, this is a trellis. It's not a fence, it's a trellis.
Oh, I got to write that down so I remember.
And this is a grapevine that we've got growing here. This was like 18 inches just like 3 months ago, and it's already, you know, 3/4 of the way up the fence.
Wow.
We can train the tomatoes up the fence as well. Okay, another grapevine.
Perfect.
And over here we've got blackberries. You know, so this is what it looks like when you know, function stack. That's another permaculture term.
Okay.
So we had to build a fence to keep the animals out. So now we've got this fence here. What can we grow up it?
Oh, and love it, man! It gets me so jazzed. This is my favorite live stream ever.
Is a maypop, which is the cold climate cousin of the passion fruit that's going to be part of your design, Todd, down in Florida.
Great.
You know, so all of these over time will cover this whole fence, and then we've got all this vertical growing surface all the way around here, where we can grow more plants than what we could fit in this space otherwise if we just use the flat surface of the land.
Wow!
So this is an expensive fence, but an inexpensive trellis for creating additional growing space.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm sorry, but I would not consider that an expensive fence because I look at it as an investment, not an expense, right? Because you're going to be able to turn that space that would otherwise be air into food, right?
Absolutely. You know, you think about that grapevine that I showed you back over there, you know, once that covers that whole 8-foot section of panel, that's probably going to produce somewhere between 40 and 50 bunches of grapes every year once it reaches maturity. And we've got like 7 or 8 grapevines, and we haven't even used up all the space yet. Here's Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, here's the solution for your gate. So I've just got these panels in place. Okay, but one of them is a swing gate. Okay, and all I've done here is I've turned the staples into hinges so that I can open up this entire 8-foot section just like that.
Oh, bingo. Bingo.
And now we can bring in ride-on mowers if we need to, or small equipment if we need to do construction work like we did here for this trench, for the footer for the greenhouse. You know, an 8-foot wide section gets you all the access you need for small equipment.
Hey, Jim, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Let's go back to this. My current pad, that backyard.
Epic.
So when we install this next little period of time, whether it's the next 2 weeks or over the next month, whatever, how long, Jim, do you think it's going to take before it literally becomes abundant like that? I mean, what am I looking at here, Jim?
So within 3 months, your spinaches are going to be prolific. You're going to have all the salads that you could ever eat. And then within about 6, 7, 8 months, your roots and tubers, your sweet potatoes and yucca and taro and turmeric and ginger, they're going to start coming in, right? And then within about 18 months, you're going to start seeing, depending on how big of fruit trees that you purchase, right? You could buy the $60 little twigs that might take 2.5, 3 years, or you could buy the bigger ones that already have 20 fruit on them. So within 18 months, we have got so much food growing at Galt's Landing right now. It's absolutely blowing my mind every day.
And here's an example of what Jim is talking about. So this is a peach tree. This is like a $70 or $80 peach tree. It's a few years old. It's not, one of the little twigs. And look at this. Beautiful peach that's ripe and ready to eat. I've told my customers it's time to come pick this before I do. So in any event, this is what can happen. So this entire space here, Todd, was just lawn in June.
Wow.
Of this year. All of this stuff is new since then. The strawberry patch that you see right here has already produced its strawberries for this year. It's now propagating out of its runners. Okay, we've got a raspberry bush right here. You see right on the top of it there, it's about to start producing its first flower berries. We planted that in June. Tomatoes starting to ripen up, and they'll continue to grow through all the way into the fall. So it just really depends on what you plant first. As Jim said, some of the things like the spinaches, the lettuces, the taro, all of those are a progression of things that are going to grow and produce crops each year from that point forward. And then as your fruit trees mature, like this apple tree here, this one is big enough now that it'll start producing maybe 15 or 20 apples next year.
Great. I love it.
And then 200 the year after that.
Right.
Oh gosh, yeah. So mine are 7 years old at my place in Michigan. We're probably going to harvest off 6 apple trees. We're probably going to harvest 1,000 pounds of apples this year.
Goodness gracious. Okay, I want to go back to this, and you helped me think through this, Graham. So why don't you talk to me about the strategy back here in the back area? This is going to be phase 2. We're going to do phase 1 first, but we have our vision for phase 2, and let me show it to you. I'm going to screen share. Okay, here it is. There you go. So that's that back area, that horseshoe, and walk us through this. Give us a tour of this here.
Do we want Cam to do this since he's your installer? Cam's back on, so
if Cam's there,
yeah, let's have him do this. This is his forte. This is his strength.
All right, Cam, are you there?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, man. You guys know I'm driving. I just left another property, another food forest. People get it. It's time to grow food. So pardon me for not being fully here for this. But if you guys can hear me okay, I can definitely talk about it. Can you guys hear me good?
Please.
All right. So I'm speaking on Riley's behalf as the designer. But basically his goal back here was to create not just the Garden of Eden for us to eat, not just for humans to eat, but we're creating a beautifully aesthetic garden that has a lot of inhabitants and animals and wildlife. Todd, when we spoke with you, one of the big things that you emphasized and was important to you is how much you loved watching the deer. I think you said there's a family of deer that lives in your backyard, right? And you wanted to support that. You wanted to encourage that. And I think that's something important for people to hear, is that we're not just growing food for ourselves. We're building ecosystems that support life, that support energy, right? And this back area right here, that was the full intention of building a Garden of Eden for animals and wildlife. So there is some edibles back here, but the intention was building the ecosystem. So we have a lot of diversity that's going to support animals. It supports a lot of insects. We're bringing in those beneficial insects, the pollinators, and obviously just having a beautifully aesthetic in sight. But the smells, like when you go back there and you have that fire pit sitting back there, like you're just sitting in an amazing place where we're no longer looking at nature and analyzing nature, but we're being it. You're sitting in it and enjoying it. And it's a complete sensory overload of just beauty that just supports your system up the hill that's producing all the food for you.
Right. And I've just, look, I love my deer, especially last September when Mama Deer, she was getting all big and she had her little baby, and now the baby is almost as big as Mama, and Mama is like, I think she's going to have twins this month. So it's like the family's growing, and then there's about 7 raccoons. I go back there, and 2 of the raccoons, I don't know what happened to their mom, but they were abandoned when they were about 3 months old. So ever since they were 3 months, I go back there and I feed them grapes and almonds and just all different kinds of things that I've learned that they like. They really like peanut butter cookies. Don't tell anyone. But they literally, I go back there and they'll run up to me like they've missed me forever. And one gets in my lap, and I just love them. Raccoons get a bad rap. So that's why I wanted to be able to have this be a place that I didn't look out there and I didn't get mad because they're eating, my food forest or whatever. No, I want them to thrive in it. I want it to be a blessing for them. And so thank you for designing this way. And I can tell right now, just by looking at this, I'm going to go back there and I'm going to feel, I'm telling you, physically feel life. I mean, this is just life. I mean, and I believe that we can communicate with these plants and thank them, and they're going to thank me, So it's I don't know, this, I'm as excited about this as the food forest part. That's
buddy, I just want to put it, you are so right. The rewards of this system cannot be underexpressed. You can feel it, like when you're at Golf Landing, when we're hanging out, there's an energy. It's like an elevated energy system.
Right.
It's literally free energy. It's exponential.
Oh, that's such a great point, Jim.
I have to agree with that too, Todd, because this place that I'm in right now, it's one of my favorite places to come visit.
Oh, nice.
Cam has told me before that, just when I've shot videos of this place to show my work progress, he said he can feel the energy in this place. And every single time I come here, I get an overwhelming sense of peace. I get an overwhelming sense of abundance. There's something spiritual here in this place besides the food, no doubt in my mind.
Well, I feel in good hands, and I really want to encourage people who watch this that HOAs can be big, bad, and scary, right? But I just want to read to you. I'm pulling it up here. I'm just going to read to you, and forgive me for reading. I know it kind of makes for bad TV, but I think it's really important, because what I want you to do is hear the positioning, the finesse of communication, and I hope you learn, or your takeaway is that you don't have to use a hammer. You don't have to go into it with battle. What you want to do is go into it with facts and law on your side. and get them to, I don't know, put themselves in your shoes. So I'm going to read it here. I'll show it while I'm reading it. But it was regarding a variance request. Yana is my wife. I said, Yana and I have been investigating and considering installing Florida-friendly landscaping. That's important because that's the key word that lawfully you can't screw with people who install Florida-friendly landscaping in our backyard to create a sustainable and environmentally friendly permaculture garden. We are huge proponents of growing food versus poisonous lawns, like our parents and grandparents always did. With food inflation at record levels, we submit that growing our own food is a responsible thing to do. We hired the lead certified permaculture designer from FoodForestAbundance.com to work with the HOA to ensure that all standards were met. Initially, he was sent by Richard, I believe, guidelines that did not include any limitations on the number of fruit trees that we could plant. With those guidelines, Graham and his team designed a food forest that met all standards. The rendering has already been submitted, which provides great detail. We were then informed that there was a limitation of 2 fruit trees, which took us all by surprise. Apparently, the guidelines Graham received had been updated later. I am submitting this letter requesting a variance to the guidelines, which should be updated to comply with the Senate bill here. And I do a hyperlink so they can go read it for themselves. And also the Florida Friendly Landscaping Statute discussed by the Florida Bar Association here. Upon careful review, please note that it is a fundamental human right to grow food, and that right is not superseded by HOA regulations. Also, SB 82 notes that encouraging homeowners to grow food is an important interest of the state. It further states that any ordinance or regulation prohibiting this is null and void and not enforceable. Ours is a permaculture design, which therefore falls within the statutory definition of Florida-friendly landscaping. Please review the letter included from Food Forest Abundance CEO Jim Gale. Our project is carefully designed to create a sustainable and environmentally friendly garden, reducing the area devoted to poisonous lawn. The purposeful design of multiple perennial fruit trees is mission critical to the sustainability of our permaculture ecosystem. Why bother if it's limited to just 2 trees? The ecosystem will not thrive. Please note, I am co-host of Decentralized.tv and plan on doing a full documentary on the installation of our food forest, along with annual updates of the production it yields. Imagine in a couple of years when the harvests are abundant, us documenting, knocking on our neighbors' doors with local, entirely organic, freshly picked, non-poisonous fruits and vegetables with a kind message we hope you enjoy. The world becomes a better place. It just does. Almost done here. I respectfully ask the board to please approve the design as is, all things considered, bills and statutes. As I wrote in a prior communication, I'd sure like my documentary to be focused on the positive versus negative. And I commit that when the first harvest comes in, we will thank each of you individually with the fruits of a good decision. Thank you, Todd Pitner. So that is it. And I want to share with everyone that I am obviously a full fanboy of FoodForestAbundance.com. And I have structured an agreement with them that if you go to decentralizeddirectory.com, and it's not ready yet, but I'm going to have, it's going to be, what is the lead? It's going to be key partners supporting decentralization. Food Forest Abundance will have a special place in there that you're going to be able to explore. It's going to be very cool. And anybody then who links out to them or reaches out, Graham is going to be the go-to person. The agreement, because these guys don't make a lot of margin, folks. So it's not a financial savings or whatever. It's going to be their commitment that anyone coming through me is going to receive the same white glove treatment that they have honored me with. It's just been the best relationship. It has brought so much joy into my life. I mean, again, I don't look at this. Mike Adams and I preach, you got to get your, excuse my language, shitty ass green dollars out of the financial system and into decentralized living. So when I looked at this and I looked at some cash I had that's sitting there, I'm like, you know what? I don't want that sitting there melting away because of inflation. No, I want to invest it in my own food forest because, again, I mean, you talk about the abundance that I am going to enjoy the rest of my life. I don't intend to move away from here. This is going to be my own private Garden of Eden back there that feeds and loves me, and I'll love it back. But I want to let you know, though, that by going through decentralizeddirectory.com, getting the white gloves treatment, they will arm you. They have this letter to the HOA. You guys will then have my commitment to, if you have a difficult HOA, I will go live and I will start talking about it and educating these folks. I'll get on Zoom calls. You know, I mean, who the hell am I? I'm a guy who's actually doing this stuff, right? I'm the tip of the spear. So you start ugly, and this isn't ugly, by the way, it's beautiful, but you start small because you know what? I'm sorry, Jim Gale. It wasn't in my budget to bring in 8-foot fruit trees already. But that's what's so cool, man. I'm so excited because I'm like a little kid, man. I can't wait to go on like a 1-week vacation. So when I come back, it's like when you have little kids and you go on vacation, you come back and you're like, my God, they've grown. You know, I want that to be with my food forest. I want to go back there and say, oh my gosh, my little banana tree, you were just like up to my knee. Now you're up to my waist. Anyway, I'm talking too much. It's just, I'm so excited. So look, everybody, I hope that was helpful. I'm going to hand it back to the good folks from Food Forest Abundance. Jim, you know, maybe just give us a little bit of encouragement, a little bit more of your vision, and you know, take us out on a positive note this Friday.
Yeah. It is what we are asking people, what we are inspiring, empowering, encouraging people to do is live healthy and free and joyful lives. Right? There's no scarcity built into nature or God's design. It's literally infinite in its ability to create joy and abundance for everybody. The ultimate psyop, the ultimate lie that we've been told is the lie of fear and scarcity. We can demonstrate the opposite of that by raising our energy to faith and courage and abundance. And when we do, then our neighbors, our friends, our family, our communities come over and they say, what are you doing? How did you lose 30 pounds? Why are you so happy? How come you don't take big, your chemicals anymore? How come there's only 2 reasons not to start using your land wisely, to take out the poisons and live with love and service and stewardship. And those are ignorance and evil. So let's demonstrate what can be done. And this, my friends, in fact, Victor Hugo said there's one thing stronger than all of the armies of the world. That is an idea whose time has come.
Amen.
This is it.
Amen. And Jim, would you please share with folks the impact that you're making where you think really big? Talk to us about some of your initiatives with prisons and parks and commercial properties.
Yes, I'll share the big vision. We're going to change the world. We being you and I, everybody listening to this, we are going to change the world. We are going to reach the tipping point. We are going to be the catalyst in the next 14 months. And here's exactly how we are going to do it. We are going to inspire and encourage the influencers to come together with a common, incredibly simple, joyfully simple message. When we take the glyphosate, the Roundup, the poisons out, and we grow food instead of lawns, we earn our freedom. The Garden of Eden is literally our prize. So what we're doing, thanks to Todd and Mike Adams and all these other incredible influencers, is we're coming together with a common, simple message. And guess what's going to happen? We're going to go to the big box stores. We're going to start there because they have the most impact. And we're going to offer them a choice between Roundup and death of our world, or compost tea and life of our world. It's a very simple choice once it's made clearly. And guess what these corporations are going to do? They're going to choose wisely because they don't have another choice. So that's the big picture. So come together, be an influencer with us, and let's change the world. And the Garden of Eden is literally our prize.
And Jim, could you please comment a little bit about Galt's Landing, and if somebody was going to come to Orlando area, how they could come and actually witness it themselves?
Yes, if you want to come, please come. We have a bunch of Airbnbs. We're on a private 430-acre lake. We've got the only dock on the lake, and we're at the end of a road. We're on 50 acres, surrounded by nature.
What's the website?
It's Galt's, GALTS, landing.farm. galtslanding.farm. You can book your stay with us. You can harvest the food. You can learn about bees and aquaponics and all the food forest solutions. We're 100% off grid.
Yeah, here it is. Good folks. galtslanding.farm.
Yep. And we have 100% 5-star reviews at Galt's Landing.
I gave you one because I went out and I stayed, I think, 2 evenings with you, and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. Got such an awesome tour, an education on all of the different plants. Got to be able to see all your friendly turkey, your chickens, the bees. That white rabbit is just next level. You know, by the way, Jim, and we will end on a positive note, but I hope this is it. Is your dog okay?
The dog is great. It's divine. She's doing great. Thanks, buddy.
Okay. Yeah, there was an accident. This dog likes to chase things, and it's so cute seeing the dog chase the rabbit. And recently the dog chased an unknown post or something in the way and lost. And so it's like a dog chasing a parked car, you know, not necessarily going to win that, but I know you were very concerned, and I'm so grateful that your pup has bounced back. So
she was chasing a deer, ran into a post full speed, and I thought she was dead in my arms, and she popped back.
That's great. Because of the energy of Galt's Landing. Because of now I was out there because I was going to consider buying a property on there with you and the awesome Brian, the awesome people out there. I never ended up doing it because it would be too disruptive of my life here in Tampa. But I remember it, and this was like 2 years ago, and it was nothing but sand. How in the heck, Jim, can it now be an abundant food forest on sand?
Permaculture and love. That's it. When you get permaculture and you add the frequency, the vibration, the energy of stewardship, of interacting with your living system, it's divine. It's magic.
So everyone, you are seeing here that it's not only magic, but you're witnessing the magicians that make it happen, that pull it off. So thank you all, Graham, TJ, Jim, Cam, Riley, who wasn't able to make it. I believe he is having his first child, he and his wife. So best wishes to you, Riley. That's so super exciting. And if she was having the baby today and you actually made this live stream, I think all of us would probably have kicked your ass. So good decision. And everybody watching, I hope you enjoyed this. Please drop comments in, smash the like button, let other people know this exists. And if you like this and more of it, and because what I intend to do is as I engage with these these key partners who support decentralized living, I don't just want to tell you who they are or what I've done with them and give them as a reference. Heck no, man. I want you to get to know them, because I look at all of us as family that are pursuing decentralized living together. So, and what a support network. I'm telling you guys, I like you have a big vision, Jim, but can you imagine our collective community? I'm talking about everybody coming through Decentralized Director, through Mike Adams, through you guys, the camaraderie, the networking that we all do with each other, the different companies. Can you imagine where we are in a year? I mean, my gosh, it's just with this on purpose, roll up your sleeves, LFG, we can't help but to change the world, one intention at a time. So for all of you out there, if you want to pursue decentralized living, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel, which, by the way, is at I am Todd Pitner. I changed it from Uncle Vigilante because I am Todd Pitner, and I'm co-host with Mike Adams on decentralized.tv, and I invite you to join that too, because we are bringing together so many amazing guests. I mean, we have 2 more today and later today, and I can't wait. I'm chomping at the bit. I wish this day would, I know we shouldn't wish away our time, but I want to get to those interviews, and I can't wait till we end up editing them and posting them to you. But you will be enriched if you keep staying tuned and become just part of this network of awesome people who support each other. And we are going to change the world. Are we not, gentlemen?
Freedom.
Freedom. There we go.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Well,
let's F grow.
All right. Let's effing grow. All right. We need a shirt. LFG. Let's effing grow. That's, that needs to become a t-shirt. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you appreciate it. All of you from FoodForestAbundance.com, thank you for your investment of time. You were great, as I knew you would. You always are. And I can't wait to get this Food Forest started, guys. So in the next couple of weeks, let's effing grow. All right, everyone. Have a great Friday. Cheers.